Hello, my name is Jeff Rush, and this talk is a demonstration walkthrough of the IPython interactive shell. Divided into 5 parts, this second talk in the series will cover directory navigation, system shell commands, and the running of Python programs. Let's begin. Another function is directory navigation. As an example, where are we? We're in the home directory of the presenter account here. We can change directories. So we can go to the temp directory here. It's over there. And if we didn't know that, we could type in part of it and hit tab completion. So tab complete applies not just to variables and arguments, but also applies to directories. So we can change to that one. It also has the, if you're familiar with the bash shell, it has the usual push pop directory. So we can say that we want to push the site packages. I don't want to see all those, and we're going to push that. So we have pushed that onto the directory stack and changed to that directory. And we can push one more. There's a reason for this. Hit tab completion there. To the Zope B trees. Certainly Zope is one of the more complicated directory structures for large frameworks. I tap the dirs command, which shows me the stack, the pushdown stack of directories. And here we see I have the 2 entries. And that, hey, looks like a Python list too. So we can, and then there's the pop. Okay, so we can also bookmark our current directory. So we've changed the B tree Zope, and maybe we're going to be moving around the Zope framework here, and it has, probably 50, 75 directories, and it can be really tedious to do that. So let's just call this the B tree. Give it a nickname. We'll call it the B tree. And that marks the current directory. And maybe we want to bookmark another one here, which is the site packages. I need to go there a lot, maybe. So I'm going to do site packages, and we'll bookmark that. So we have 2 short names, and maybe we want to see what those look like. I hit tab complete here, and it put the % character on it for me for completeness. And here is some bookmarks. Got a BT left over from a previous session. Sorry about that. But we have that. So what can we do with bookmarks? Well, I can see. Remember where I am. I am in the B tree directory. Okay, so I want to go to the site packages directory to take a look at something. Okay, well I just CD to the name of the bookmark. I didn't have to specify relative to anything. Just take me to the bookmark. And of course it's there. I'm now in the site packages. Or I can change back to the B tree. So these can be very useful, and bookmarks can be stored out there persistently, as you saw the BT one. So and these are per project or per directory if you want, or per user account. So you could set up for a particular project several of the bookmarks to the places you tend to go to. And then we can, don't forget our directory stack have these 2 things on it, so we can hit pop D, nothing special there. And maybe we want to keep it, want to see what the history of where I've been lately. So we have a dhist, a directory history. So we can do that and see the places we've been. Now, maybe there was something here, that temp directory over there, and I want to go back to that. So I can say CD to 1. Error. So let's take the CD question mark to find out what I did wrong here. And we see that it has many different options here. Dash takes you back to the last visited directory, like the bash. I need to put a dash on the front of it, I see. So I can say CD to /-1, and I'm back in the temp directory. And so that's another way to move around without having to give them names. So now that we can move around the directories and we can look up information about objects, what's the next thing? Maybe, well, if we can change directories, it sure would be nice to be able to do system commands. The CD is a magic command, but let's talk about system, as in commands that get issued to the underlying shell. The bang character is long time been an escape character to get to the shell in programs. So we can type exclamation or bang ls, and we run the ls command. And maybe we want more detail, so ls-l, and gives it to us with the time and sizes and such. That's good. And let's go a little further. So say we wanted to look at, let's go back to the site directory. So we have some Python programs in there to look at. And we can do a directory, and we see that the site packages, of course, has lots of files in there, including the PYCs and the PYOs. And programmatically, we'd like to look at certain ones. So we want to look at the .pys. We can put that on the command line, but this way our command can actually draw from our namespace. So we hit, have this variable pattern, and we still issue the -l, but we put $PATT. So this way, the $ says substitute the Python variable into the system command. So we see that only the .py files here. We can also put full expressions in those commands. So we can still use the $, but because it's an expression, we use the braces or squiggly brackets. So we still take that pattern, but we add to it a C. So we want to look at the *.pyc files. And we do that, and as we see here, we see the PYC files. Now this can be a little tedious to using the bang to go to commands. You'd like to have, again, like bookmarks, you'd like to have a short way to give them names. These are called aliases. Aliases relate to the system shell commands. So we hit alias to find out what aliases come with IPython. And we see here that they give us cat, clear, less, make directory, remove directory, copy. The ones we've been seeing. So, oh, geez, ls is actually already defined. So I can just say ls without the bang because it's an alias. And seal those same kind of files as if I was doing. That saves me one character, the bang. That's not. And they thankfully have defined other options for us. LF for only list files. Things like that. You can find your own aliases. Like elder shows you only directories and the site packages here. That's just an alias, nothing special related to IPython. So you wanted to find your own alias. That's good. So we define PR, and it's going to echo. You said %s. So aliases can have arguments. So we can say that. So now we now have an alias that says takes an argument. You said hello. We type alias, and we see PR down here is defined as we would expect. So it's easy to define new ones. And of course there's an unalias command, so we can take out what we did. Aliases don't persist across sessions unless you set it up that way. So another interesting thing, maybe these shell commands are nice, but sometimes you need to do more complex operations. Like, let's define a function go that takes a pattern. But inside the Python code, we're going to do it ls-l with the bang character, and the pattern with the $ substitution. So the default pattern is going to be the pattern in the namespace here, which I still have there. Okay, so we have this function go. So we type go, and sure enough, does the *.py using the. So we can actually call functions this way, and we can pass in a different argument to pick up .so files or shared libraries. So we did that, and yeah, sure, IPython has several of the .so files around. So we can sort of write programs around our system commands, turning them into sort of a Python-based batch files. Now, the output of this command, of course, went to the screen, but sometimes you'd like to see that as a variable. So we can say, okay, do the ls, and let's store this to a Python variable. And it returns a list. Now, the list printed out whenever you do operations, just the same as typing a variable name in the regular interpreter shell. It prints out the operation. But x is still there, so we can say, okay, length of x, how many names did it return? Okay, 232 names. No wonder it scrolled off. We can also see this as, we can just type x. Okay, we see all the names. We can also see it as one string by putting a .s on it. This is a smart list, not a traditional one. So here it shows up as one string with space separation. And maybe we want to see it with, instead of one per line, with new lines between there. So we get back new lines. That's right, a list. L is a list. and N is new line. So here we see the list with the directory, the output of that command with new line characters. And we can also use pipes. So we can bring stuff together. So we say, okay, we want the pi stuff, but we're doing the bang, ls, yeah, all that. And we're going to pipe it to the sort because we want an alphabetical listing of these files. So I hit return, and we get the same variables. But now they're all in sorted order, as you'll notice. So you can construct up more complicated scenarios here. Okay, running Python programs, of course, is all very nice playing system commands, but we are Python programmers. So let's go over here to where the presentations are and run a calculation program. Prints 5. Not much fun. Let's take a look at calc here. So we can type ls and hit the calc. We don't have to put .py on it. It will look the namespace up and find out that there's a file up there by that name. All right. There we go. Sorry. Okay. So calc is simply a file in a directory, and the very simple calculator object with an error message, sum and a divide operation, return the sum or return the difference, the quotient. We create a calculator, we divide 10 by 2, and it prints 5. Now, why is this interesting? Okay, notice here that C is a calculator, and we then did an operation on it. We ran this program inside of IPython, and it finished after printing the 5. But the C right here is now in our namespace. So after the program ran, the variables that it created, the modules it imported, sys and re, is available to us here at the shell. And let's make it easy, put the who's on there so we can see the types. So we see the calculator object, we see the modules that were imported, so we can get a view of the namespace. Now, each time we run calc here, it starts with an empty namespace. But there are options that you can pass to run. Run has a lot of options that let it inherit the current namespace. So you could set up the namespace, call your program, and it would take its variables from whatever you've interactively defined. The other thing to note is the if underbar name underbar equal main, then it calls this function. So when we did the run, IPython actually told it the name was underbar main, so it would run it. But there may be times, however, when you may have a module that defines classes and functions, but you don't really want to run it as a main. You want to just run through the source file, make the definitions, and then come back so I can call them interactively, say. And said run has options for doing that. I don't remember that, but anyway, it can do main or it cannot do main. Okay, you can also pass in P for profiling, which we're going to get to more details, but just briefly, you can do that, get profiling information, and you can also run your program with a -D under the debugger. And we're in the debugger running our program. We'll get into more of that. That's it for this part 2 of 5. To download the IPython software, visit the SciPy URL given. You can send comments to me at the email address shown. Thank you.